Hi, this is Arthur, and this is a summary of Alhaitham's story quest from Genshin Impact version 3.4. The Traveler and Paimon hear that Alhaitham has been made acting Grand Sage and go check on him. As they're walking to the academia, they run into someone named Ilias who needs help from the Matra. A side note, the Matra are kind of like the police of the academia. The Traveler agrees and they find a Matra named Arav. Ilias tells Arav that he was kidnapped and experimented on by Siraj, a well-known researcher. Ilias can't say much more because he's lost some of his memories. Arav makes Ilias take a lie detector test, which is standard Matra procedure. They both return and Alhaitham comes with them, intending on investigating personally. Ilias remembers something related to a tavern and they go investigate. After investigating, they find someone named Narendra. Narendra was illegally selling parts to Siraj. Unfortunately, Narendra has no idea where Siraj is. Alhaitham also tells the Traveler that he knows Siraj. They were classmates before he became the Academia's scribe. Afterwards, Siraj submitted a thesis for a theoretical collective human consciousness. This was basically a hive mind, where everyone would share their thoughts and be overseen by someone acting as an overmind. The point is that as a collective, they would be much more efficient at accomplishing tasks than working as individuals. The Grand Sage ultimately rejected Siraj's thesis based on Alhaitham's negative opinions on the idea. The group then goes and revisits places from Ilias's past. They first visit his old workplace, then an old friend named Chandra. Chandra then points him to Janaki, someone else who Siraj approached to participate in his experiment, but unlike Ilias, declined. They find Janaki, and Janaki is mad at Ilias, though Ilias cannot remember why. Janaki doesn't offer much information, so they go check on Ilias's file in the archives. They return to Ilias and inform him that he was a hero. In the past, Ilias's instructor was committing academic fraud, and Ilias reported him. This information causes Ilias pain, and he does not want to remember more about it. Seeing that this is ultimately irrelevant to Siraj, Alhaitham drops it and they head over to Gandharvaville to give Ilias's family his paycheck. After meeting his family, they learn that Ilias has been bullied in the academia and even his family has been receiving threats. Ilias then remembers where Siraj's hideout is and they head over. They head in and see pieces of Ilias's memory. Turns out, when Ilias reported his instructor, all the projects run by that instructor were also shut down. Researchers at the academia need to participate on projects in order to graduate, and with the projects being shut down, a lot of the researchers were stuck. That's why those researchers bullied Ilias and even sent threats to his family. Afterwards, even researchers refused to accept Ilias onto their projects, meaning Ilias could not graduate. That is until Siraj invited Ilias onto his unsanctioned hive mind project. Ilias was desperate, so he agreed. When they get to the bottom of the layer, Ilias reveals that all his memories had returned back in Gandharvaville. Turns out, all of this was an elaborate trap set up by Siraj. Siraj completed the hive mind and Ilias was integrated a long time ago. Ilias deliberately deleted his memories to fool the Matra's lie detectors and Alhaitham. Siraj's plan was to trick Alhaitham here, get rid of him, and then install himself as the Grand Sage. Siraj even had some spies already in the academia. Siraj also really hated Alhaitham for rejecting his thesis. Fortunately, Alhaitham saw through the whole thing from the very beginning and has a plan, but it will take time. Siraj then sends some hive-controlled monsters to attack them. They beat the monsters, and Alhaitham's plan starts to take effect. Earlier, Alhaitham brought up the idea that human beings all have potential that cannot be measured exactly by data, and that everyone may have higher value than what others perceive. Once Ilias rejoined the hive, the memories of that conversation were shared with everyone else in the hive. Alhaitham's discussion of human potential made every member of the hive believe they were worthy of being the Overmind, undermining Siraj's authority as the Overmind. This crashes the system. Alhaitham then disables the hive system, and Sino arrives to arrest Siraj and the other members of the hive. Sino also mentions that they captured all the spies because Alhaitham warned the Matra earlier. The Traveler then asks Alhaitham how he figured everything out, but Alhaitham doesn't feel like answering, so he invites them to his house to read some books. When they get there, they see Kaveh again and chat. Kaveh's pretty vague on his relationship with Alhaitham. Alhaitham then brings some books, but they're too esoteric to read. Alhaitham then tries to explain the hive mind, but just ends up bickering with Kaveh for a while. Before the Traveler leaves, Alhaitham mentions that he plans on resigning as the Grand Sage. And that is the end of this quest in this video. If you've liked what you've seen here, please like, comment, and subscribe.